LEGO Horizon Adventures released on November 14th, 2024, and is the newest game in the LEGO multiverse. This game isn't technically part of the mainline series of LEGO games because instead of being developed by Traveller's Tales, it was made by Guerrilla, who is the studio behind the Horizon series. Now, while this game is made for children, there is a difficulty selector, unlike most other LEGO games. This gives us 5 different levels of gameplay, from story all the way up to hero. So, naturally, I decided to take it a step further and challenge myself to finish a complete main story playthrough on the hardest difficulty hero without dying a single time. Hey y'all, it's your favorite Smiling Snack, and before we dive into the main content, I just wanted to say that this is my first YouTube video, so let me know how I do in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. As the intro cutscene plays, I'll dive into my gaming background a little bit. This is far from my first LEGO or Horizon game. As far as I'm aware, there are 27 mainline LEGO games, and I have played through 22 of them, completing or even 100%ing most of them. In terms of Horizon experience, I have played through the 2 non-VR games at least twice, including a full 100% completion run of both to prepare for this game's release. That being said, I'm not a hardcore gamer. I enjoy watching a good challenge or speedrun, but I have never been up for the challenge myself. That is, until now. For this run, my goal is to finish all of the 23 main story missions on hero difficulty without dying a single time. If I die, I reset, which, spoilers, is probably going to happen a lot. Starting off in this game, we learn about the post-apocalyptic world filled with deadly machines and the intrinsic mystery within. The birth of our main gal Aloy, who is definitely not banished to the wilderness with her fake bearded dad Rost, and we learn of the main story plot of Aloy trying to discover who her mother is. Jumping into the gameplay, we immediately see my need to annihilate every single breakable object in the level to collect studs. This has been instilled in me ever since I used to play LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga at my grandpa's house on his new at the time Xbox 360. This actually has a point in this challenge. In most LEGO games, you get 8 billion studs after the first couple red bricks and are completely set. But here, we don't get any stud multipliers and need as much moolah as we can get our grippers on for character upgrades, costumes, and building upgrades for extra gold bricks later. The other main difference in this game, compared to other LEGO games, is character leveling. Each time your character levels up, you get a basic stat boost, like more health or damage, which for this challenge, it's imperative that we level up ASAP for more health. So, we do some basic platforming, get sidetracked to save some bonus studs trapped in a chest, and get our basic aiming tutorial from our favorite dad, who spews some hilarious dad humor our way. Next, the game teaches us how to fuel my stud addiction before finally giving me a focus. In the Horizon games, this is a super important device for scanning machines for weak points and drops, but in this game, it's mostly useless except for finding health pickups. We are introduced to damage types, my terrible aim, and a machine dummy named after my dog. And at this point, I guess I should say that I've played through 100% of this game already. I was given this amazing game for Christmas and played through for the first time on the second hardest difficulty Machine Hunter. I probably died about 20 or 30 times total, but did every little thing, including all of the Apex machine hunts and grinding every character level to max in my 11-ish hour playthrough. Next, we're introduced to my impatience, as I take some needless fire damage on the way to the first machine encounter. And here we're introduced to our first machine type in the game, the Broadhead. These aren't super dangerous until they're thrown into larger encounters with more machines. Their main attack is a head-on charge, which you can steer into objects for extra damage. Their weak points are their horns, elemental canisters on their rear, and for some reason the plates on their sides. We get some lovely combat, where I slowly whittle the metal cow down while missing dozens of shots because I'm used to playing with another character. Aloy's bow is very accurate, with arrows traveling further and doing more damage with the bow fully drawn, unlike what I'm showing here. We get our first XP and level up, which thankfully increases our bow damage so combat is hopefully less embarrassing in the future. Rost and Aloy reach Mother's Heart, where the Nora tribe resides, only to see that it's under attack from Helis' sun cultists. We watch as definitely the one and only matriarch, Teersa, is dragged away with some other villagers in cages, and witness something truly horrifying. Rost consuming a pickle sandwich made with half butter and half mustard. I try not to be too judgmental, but my insides feel better after roasting that atrocity. We manage to survive the tutorial, and see that our next goal is to save the Nora and restore life to the village. We meet the somewhat pitiful Warchief Sona, get to hear a bad LEGO joke, learn about her apparently even more pitiful son Varl, and are tasked with saving him along with the other missing villagers. The game helpfully reminds me that I don't have any friends, and we continue my stud vacuuming rampage through the already devastated streets of Mother's Heart. which by the way is a terrible name for a village in my opinion. Now we head into our first real level of the game, Woods 1 or 1-1 as I'll call it. Dad tells us how to join a cult and we're off. I finally remembered to turn off the in-game music as well, so now there should be game audio. We traverse the ancient rooftops, continually sidestepping for more studs before reaching our first encounter, which is just one broadhead. This one we do take more slowly and aim for weak points for more damage before cleaning out the arena for more studs. And at this point I hope you grasp how much of this is just me finding every single chest and breakable object for studs, so I'm gonna stop mentioning it. But feel free to keep an eye on the stud counter. We continue through the ancient wreckage before reaching the first multi-machine encounter. We slide down the rope and glimpse an entire herd of 2 whole Bessies. We finally get a knockdown and take out the first charging bull with ease, utilizing my favorite dodge tactic in the game, the jump. We successfully bait Ferdinand 2 into the wall for another easy kill. I was starting to get a little nervous and my hope was draining that this would actually be a challenge, since I haven't taken damage from an enemy yet. As we trek on, we run into my first slight rule adjustment for the run. I'm gonna say that diving headfirst off a cliff does not count as a death. This may be controversial, but I am way too careless, and the perspective is a little weird for the platforming. Also, you don't actually lose any hearts, so it doesn't count. Moving on, we meet our first caged villager, Teb the Tailor, alongside some other characters we will never see again. They are guarded by the second enemy type, hooded cultists. These guys aren't very tough to deal with, as the only attack they have is a spin attack that can be interrupted easily. We deftly ducked and dodged the dastardly desperados, mainly murdering the minifigures before making mincemeat out of the monstrous machines. Now that Teb has traveled back to town, it's tailoring time. Ugh. Sorry, I think I blacked out for a minute there. Anyway, I decided to change into some spiffy Banuk furs and head into 1-2. We launch into the first encounter and discover my new favorite cultist deterrent, allergies.
You know, ridding the world of every blade of grass and every flower is going to do wonders for my allergies.
No, seriously. The barrels carried me through this. Not that it would have been too tough, but 4 barrel kills certainly helped. We then meet our RNG god at the middle point of every level going forward. The trader always has 3 chests with goodies inside. The first time he shows up, we get one of my favorite power-ups, the blast boots. These give you a double jump and light everything under you on fire, including doing extra damage to weak point, which is why I like them. We finally meet Mystical Varl, who is much less of a dumpster fire than his mom, and somehow manages to always end up face down on the ground. The next encounter is all hoodies, and we decimate them with our Lord and Savior Explodey Barrels. We also get our first second wave, and an extra heart thanks to a level up. One thing I will mention about level ups is that whenever you level, your health fills up fully, and enemies are pushed back and stunned. This can be a lifesaver. It hasn't yet, but I'm sure it will be in the future. We meet the lovely Tallneck, which is definitely a very important machine in the game, and start our first alternate level ending. This ending involves following our metal giraffe friend, fighting the occasional cultists, and using my favorite, very real speedrun strat of jumping on the tightropes, until we reach a spot where we can jump onto the disc-headed dinosaur and grab our gold brick. In my opinion, this is the easiest ending, so we will be taking it when we can. We reach the village again, and for some reason that means talking to Scaredy Pants Sona the Almighty Warchief. She encourages us to keep going once she hears her son is still alive, and tells us to hunt down Karst, who is super duper important and will be very necessary for the plot. We also unlocked upgrades, and decide to go for 2 levels of Weak Sauce and Free Lunch, which boosts XP when removing parts and occasionally drops health pickups after killing machines with elemental damage respectively. Then we get 1 level of Barrels of Peril and Slow Burn to boost barrel damage, yay, and increase the amount of time that enemies stay on fire. On to 1-3. We finally get a face-to-face meeting with the spooky sun cult leader Helis, who is actually fairly terrifying in Horizon Zero Dawn, but again, this game is made for children. We get to meet a new machine type, the Grazer. These can be tough under certain circumstances we will hopefully get to at some point, but for now they're not a problem. They've got 2 weak points, the horns and the canisters on their backs. The horns actually detach when destroyed and can be used to do extra damage when flung into other enemies. My favorite strategy for these wrathful deerlings is to use blast boots on their backs and hit every container, which is an insta-kill even on the hardest difficulty. They are easy to bait into their diving sky attack, and once their back feet have reached the ground, well, it's not hard to miss, even for me. I know I said I wouldn't mention my side quest for infinite studs anymore, but I do want to mention that you can get items from the chests you find along the way. Not that I needed more blast boots. For the next encounter, we run into one of my least favorite arenas. The tight area and spikes makes it much harder to dodge and avoid damage. That being said, we take some time at the start to clear some brambles and even witness a cultist enjoy some Sudoku before burning our enemies at the stake. We meet up with RNGesus and he decides we want a hot dog cart, which I respectfully decline. The cart is good for some massive passive damage, but I prefer the blast boots for the damage and also for the mobility. Now we finally catch up with the super useful Karst who we need to rescue for important reasons. We meet a new enemy, the Bow Cultist, and now we see why I wanted to keep the boots. The ability to one-shot enemies at this point in the game is very important so that we don't get too overwhelmed. Turns out you can use the boots to clear brambles and also to one-shot broadheads as well. The fact that they give these free blasters out on rechargeable timers makes this encounter quite easy, as well as granting us another level thanks to the weak sauce we purchased earlier. You can also see free lunge coming into play, not that we've taken any damage yet. Anyway, rescue important character, blah blah blah, tanning, blah blah blah, back to the village, where we are immediately met by one of the best sources of income in this game, taxes. Every time you finish a mission, every house or plot that has been restored pays us for existing, I guess? We're not going to complain, but we'll definitely pick up as many gold bricks as possible to try and get as many studs as possible. I'm starting to feel like maybe I have a problem. I'll try to keep the greed down for the rest of the video. Before heading into 1-1, we upgrade weak sauce to max for more XP. At the start of the level, oh no, not again the sandwich. I'm gonna be sick. Moving on, we are introduced to the first real threat in this run, Watchers. It's kind of funny saying that after playing the rest of the Horizon series, but here we go. Watchers only have one weak point, their eye. Because of this, they are much harder to damage. But the real danger comes with their attack. The projectile they shoot is homing, which is not too dangerous one-on-one, but is easy to lose track of in a big group. The worst part is, it takes 3 shots to kill one at my current level. 3! We need more damage and quit. Taking out the first raptor is almost trivial, but as soon as there is more than one, we are struggling. I didn't realize this in my first playthrough, but these guys could compete in hide-and-seek competitions. They sometimes fully submerge their heads and become invisible. Truly frightening. Somehow, I destroy the Gods of Disguise and move on to the rest of the stage. At the start of the next encounter, we can see the other annoying thing about Watchers. These all-seeing storks can scan tall grass and force you out of hiding, which usually doesn't matter but did make me panic a little bit here. We end up taking a bow shot, which of course removes over half of our health, and this is our first enemy damage this whole playthrough. We flounder a bit before finding a bush and going back to work. Now we come full circle, however, as we have tons of projectiles and my terrible aim making for a miserable encounter. We managed to finish it out without any more damage and set our sights on fulfilling our huge destiny. The trader gives us our first weapon upgrade in the spread shot bow, which is basically a shotgun at close range and almost guarantees multi-target hits at longer ranges. We are so back, baby. Uh-oh, looks like our boy Varl has tripped into a cage. Let's bring him back so his mom stops nagging. The first wave goes smoothly, with a pillar kill on the main Mecha Raptor threat and a couple easy archer kills on Culty Robin Hood. We even get an extra heart from a level up. Maybe this isn't a challenge. Maybe, just maybe we can do this first try. Spread shot bow, here we come. Blam, Hootie down. Blam, Hawkeye down. And just like that, we have our old nemesis, the 3 illustrious metal chickens standing between us and Varl. Boom, 1 down. And then, disaster strikes. 007 catches us with our pants down, and once again, half our health is gone. No problem though. We recover, dodge the sniper shot, and down Mr. Bond. 1 left. They run. I chase. Spread shot. Only need 1 more, but no. Instead, attempt 1 comes to an end due to a smidge of health on a 3-hit watcher. We have a challenge on our hands. So, attempt 1 is done. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe while you're down there, and I will see you for attempt 2. Bye!